Oh, don't mind me. I'm just over here thinking critically in British English. It occurred to me upon rising today, 2:22. Sometimes I don't know whether I'm Vanya or Sonia or that good doctor, Michael. But I do know and they'd be asking me in that restaurant, Ren, who are you talking to? Some of the ghosts in the corners. I didn't reach for Dr. C again today, like you do when your mom goes to college. And sure enough, look at here. Sure enough, I found a page from a book that I've been writing, a story that I've been writing since, 09. Before that, 99, all the nines. And that one, it's the story about the bearded man and Danny and you. And the bit just before this, the book that it's referenced, there's a quote from that book. There's a quote that old Uncle Al is not going to give me a search response to. There's a quote from Frankenstein that was about friendship. That was on the page just before this, and I've been looking for this and the page before it since about as long as I've been looking for that poem that I wrote about Old Blue on the bus in 94. The last 4 lines were of all the ways to die. Anywho, it'll all make sense soon. Yeah. She's got a daughter she calls Easter, and she was born on a Tuesday night. It goes a little something like this. Still, most of us search to construct verbiage most appropriate to the vast depth of mixed emotion thrust so swiftly upon us in the midst of death, or change as a sudden impact threat. The bearded man found himself staring at the ceiling in that hospital room, learning his entire alphabet all over again. When the nurse came back to push the morphine, she noticed where his hand lay on the page where he'd left off. Over coffee hours later, she'd recalled the origin. Orion. 16 stars on a full moon evening, you wrote. That night she remembered her name because he knew the code, knew it like he knew his sister. He never told you that he cut his sister's throat. She was not surprised when she looked up from her unwashed cup to see the clock set right at the wishing hour. You walked the block to the hospital. 22 after midnight, you were hand in hand with the bearded man. Bloodstains and all. There wasn't much coffee left, so she fixed another pot. In the street-lit reflections on the windows, you'd caught their narrow eyes and nervous smiles exchange. You almost scalded yourself when you heard your name. The bearded man, he held 2 separate names at 2 separate venues and 2 names at the same place and time. What's up, Doc? 10:25. Joseph drops me off at Starbucks in Frankfurt at 2:30 and then picks me up at 11 p.m. every other Wednesday for the child and adolescent intervention class at EKU. After these long 5-hour classes and driving for an hour there and back, I arrive in Shelbyville with Dr. C around 11 p.m. Joseph had been grumpy and short with me more than once when he picks me up. He was very upset and quite rude when he picked me up once from a private session, too. He could be feeling jealous. Dr. Cornwall commented that he thought people might think he and I were dating or something. He asked me why I supposed people would think that. I made light of it at the time and said maybe they're jealous. But I wondered if I should not be so interested in what Dr. C had to say, because maybe people would misinterpret my interest and think of me negatively. But I went home and read the books anyway. Tell me this. If you were an aspiring horror writer and Stephen King lived down the street from you and was very welcoming and answered your questions and agreed to mentor you and sent you Facebook messages to make plans for when you might be able to house sit while his family is out of town, would you jump on that chance? Well, I want to paint with words like that and make a difference in people's lives like that, especially people like my daughter who can't sit still because their minds are filled with uncontrollable fire, and white hetero males with race and gender and post-trauma mistrust fears whose uncontrollable fire was never really tamed, no matter how hard they tried to beat it out of them, because those are the people I know best. Aside from people just like me, people who are just in love with everything and kind of afraid of everything at the same time, in constant awe, always curious but really secretive and sensitive and honest. I want to know where this stuff comes from and why I'm weird. And I want to help others who think they're weird to truly do more than just barely tolerate themselves and each other. And I was lucky enough to find a person who happens to advertise as the veritable Zen master of being weird. So I took a chance and swallowed shyness enough to approach this person first because I am a nerdy fangirl. I am a geek with things I really like. I can be proud of that. I'll move on when I'm ready. Which will conveniently be in December. You know what? No, I don't need to move on. And that's what everyone else just might want me to do. I'm networking. That's normal. I've just been so shy before and listened to scared white boys who told me I needed to be a certain way to make them happy because if they're not happy, I might be in trouble. I'm evolving. I don't think in those terms anymore, and I am a little less angry. A little more brave. Just like he talks about in the Lemon book, and Think, and Critic. Now that I am using the formula, so much about how I perceive myself and the world around me is changing. I thought I had a handle on how I perceive, seeing as how I am constantly navel-gazing, but this is different. I feel myself evolving, reacting differently. I am more aware of the choices I have and more sympathetic of others. I might marry this theory with something else someday. Write my own book. Who knows? I could die tomorrow. I have to do what I think is right. I have to discover all possibilities. I have to try. I know that the have-tos, the shoulds, the woulds, etc. reveal what I think of myself. Before, my self-talk was more like, I have to be quiet. I have to stay home. I have to change who I am. I have to be perfect. I'm a failure. I'm a bad person. I'm a good person. I'm a mom. I'm a girlfriend. I'm a student. Now I know a little better. I'm Catherine. How can I help me to understand you? It's like a weight lifted from me. I have many people to thank for that. But it's my perception that really does come first. A plus B equals C over E. Right, Al? That was 13 years ago. You know what? I think I'm just going to stop talking about this right now and let it just be in the air. You're welcome to join me. We did start this particular episode, my unconventional conventionalists, referencing a little British English. Top two. Because The Office almost goes without saying, doesn't it, Stephen? It's Mr. Merchant to you. The other two. Very favorite British BBC television shows that I highly recommend we all look up now. The grand Dr. C and all of us. In the smart car we are all driving right now. Black Books and Twist from that show Spaced. Twist. Couldn't have done without you, Katie. Do you really think the cake is a lie? I don't know. If you played that Portal, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about when we understand that the Bombardino Crocodilo of the references of the references of the references come from that same resonance cascade. You know why he called me Victoria, and why I said, I am Gordon Freeman, and so are you. Why'd they name that wizard Tim anyway? Maybe the same difference in why they named her Esther. Was it a short one or a long one? Time or Tim? Esther or Easter? Has something to do with why Kathleen asked that question when she walked into the airport. What's with all the mermaids? I don't know. Someone saw one once.